Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marco Iannone. I'm a VP of Innovation at Ometria, and we'll be talking about AI and how that is shaping the future of Ometria. I am starting the session and then hand over to Chris, Beatrice, and Ruggiani in a moment from the product team. But I'll just kind of set the tone with kind of a quick introduction. So we've heard a lot about what's happening in CRM these days, and these are definitely interesting times. So to begin with, obviously, we are all feeling the impact of the recession. You are seeing it in the kind of revenue growth, you're seeing it in engagement. We've had obviously a whole panel about that. And this pressure is happening, and the CRM team, which is obviously our core stakeholders, the team of stakeholders that we really always go back to, they are very much feeling this pressure, particularly when acquisition budgets are being squeezed, and so all the attention goes onto retention. And so this is in the short term, this is what happens on a kind of day-to-day basis in your teams, of course. But at the same time, there are kind of macro trends that are happening, and we've heard about those ones too. On one hand, obviously customer expectations, we've heard that for a long time, but it's happening. And we've seen the example from Ivan with regards to Uber that kind of sets the scene for what we want to aspire to achieve. And at the same time, kind of a third dimension to it is AI. It's happening in front of our eyes, and it's particularly in the past few months with everything that is happening with generative AI. It's very impressive and not clear exactly what the impact is on our day-to-day lives, both at home and at work. So a lot is going on, and this is very much informing the way we think about our solution, our product for you. And so well, there you go. I went through the introductions. If we move to the vision, our vision in a kind of a macro level is to be your trusted partner. We begin from the end. We begin from how can we deliver value to you, to the CRM team. And we start from there and kind of work backwards in terms of what it is that we can do to help you do your job, both in kind of short term and long term. And this is very much the kind of the North Star, the kind of the guiding line. And what that means in practice is obviously you all know the kind of the extremely high quality level of support that you can get from our customer team at all levels. But at the same time, from a platform point of view, what we are aiming to do is to help you navigate in these troubled waters and finding the right path between obviously your kind of pressures in the short term, but also kind of preparing for the long term, being future-proofed and being ready to deal with what CRM will look like in a year from now. And so what does that mean in practice? What are the kind of key challenges that we see are kind of prevalent in all the CRM teams that we talk to? Obviously, as you know, we have a very close relationship with our clients, so we understand, we very much feel and empathize with where they stand. And so there are three kind of very relevant quotes here that always go back to three key areas that we are relentlessly focused on. So one of them is that you have revenue targets to meet and you have limited bandwidth. So you need to know what to focus on to make sure that you have the highest impact. At the same time, when you've chosen what to focus on, you just need to get it done. You need all the resources in place to execute those campaigns or all the deliverables in a very effective manner. And lastly, as we mentioned before, you need to deliver highly relevant experiences to your customers. And ultimately, moving towards the kind of the vision of the audience of one, where each single customer that you have will get the right content with the right tone, the right topics, the right recommendations at the right time, through the right channel, etc., with the right frequency. And kind of moving towards that vision that is fully personalized in an incredibly relevant way. So those are the three kind of needs that will continue being there regardless of what happens from a technology point of view, regardless of what happens from a kind of economical situation point of view. Those three needs will stay there for the foreseeable future, for the next several years. And those are the ones that will be always focused on. But specifically, with regards to the changes in technology, our objective is very much the one of kind of enabling you to make the most of all that is new and that is relevant to you, and to package it in such a way that is that makes your life easier, that is relevant to you and enables you to achieve those objectives that we just talked about. And so specifically, as you've heard earlier today, AI has been coming for several years. Arguably, the kind of renaissance of AI started about 10 years ago with deep learning, but it definitely landed in everybody's kind of lives in the past few months, with particularly with ChatGPT. So here are a few kind of statistics to kind of bring it home. So 1 million is the number of users ChatGPT had within the first 5 days. This never happened before, that a new technology would achieve those numbers so quickly, and this number is kind of constantly increasing. 97% is the amount of business owners that believe that AI will help their business. So basically everybody. Notice that what that means in terms of help varies massively from one business to another. But certainly everybody feels like the impact is definitely going to be there. Whether it's going to be there today or tomorrow or in a year from now, but everybody believes that that's the case. And 37% is the expected annual growth rate of AI from 2023 to 2030. Personally, I find that conservative. It could actually be more than that. So all in all, this is change is coming. That is for sure, and faster than probably what you could have anticipated. And what that means in practice is that we need to leverage this technology. We need to be aware of these technologies and use them in our day-to-day basis to be prepared for what's coming. One quote that has been making the rounds that you may have heard recently is AI going to take your job, our jobs? And the answer is probably not, but someone who can use AI may. And that's something that we probably want to kind of take into consideration. So what happens now is that we're going to bring this to a much more practical level with the very specific features that we've been working on in the past few weeks, and that will enable you to really get a sense of what this means in practice. So I'll hand over to the product team to tell you more about this. Chris first. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris, really excited to be talking to you about this. Just gonna log into my computer quickly. All right, so firstly, I want to address a bit of an elephant in the room. I'm sure many of you have been here before in the sense of hearing someone talking about the benefits that AI is going to bring to you, to the marketing sector. You might have heard a lot of promises, fairly lofty ones, about the things it's going to unlock for you, for example. And I'm sure in many of those cases hasn't necessarily delivered on what you're expecting. I think there's kind of two things that we wanted to highlight for you relating to that. I guess one important element of that is that very often in the past, when providers are talking about the use of AI, they're really focusing on the technology itself, the idea of kind of AI for the sake of AI, so to speak. And we really want to focus on the problems that we are trying to address with the technology. The technology is just a means to an end at the end of the day. So the other piece, and kind of Marco's already alluded to this quite strongly, is the fact that there's been really kind of significant step changes in the world of AI recently. And we want to be able to leverage those step changes to actually show you how we can be addressing the problems that we're kind of highlighting in a little bit in a very kind of practical and increasingly more impactful way. So we're going to be talking about a few different problems in each of our sections today. The problem that I'm going to be focusing on is being able to implement your campaigns as quickly as possible. All marketers always feedback to us about how they are lacking in time to do many of the kind of fundamental basics. We want to help you resolve that problem. So I want you to think back to a time when you were trying to build an email campaign. Maybe it's a campaign that is very similar to a campaign that you have run many times in the past, and there were perhaps big challenges in trying to get elements of that campaign to be unique or different to those historical versions. In particular, I want you to think about the realm of subject lines. So this is where we started. We wanted to begin with a small piece of, a small kind of proof of concept that would help us demonstrate, yes, actually, some of the advances in text generation AI can provide really practical benefits to marketing teams. We launched this a couple of months ago, so many of you will have already had a chance to have a bit of a play with this. I'm going to give you a quick demo of how it works, but then I'm going to move on to showing you what this was ultimately moving towards and what it was setting up. So if we can move over to the demo screen now. All right, so I'm in Ometria's broadcast campaign builder at the moment, and I have this little option here to suggest subject lines. If I bring that up, basically it's going to generate a series of suggested subject lines of some keywords that I enter. 1 second, let me just refresh that. Okay, so when that's finished generating, that should give me a whole bunch of different subject lines based around the keywords of summer collection. So I would choose one that automatically applies, and off I go. Now, this isn't supposed to replace the idea that kind of humans need to actually interact with and write subject lines. The idea of this is simply to provide you with a bit of inspiration to overcome writer's block, that sort of thing. So if we can transition back to the slides now. So, since we launched that feature, we've had hundreds of clients interacting with that. We've generated thousands of subject lines, and we also got loads and loads of really incredible feedback from our clients and how we can make that not just better in terms of subject lines, but where else we can use it in the platform. And I want to show you today where we took that. So, what I am going to be showing you is the AI content creator. So we took that same idea and we said, all right, we want to be able to generate whole sections of email templates, or we want to be able to help you refine email templates that you've already written and you want to touch up a bit. Some of the feedback that we got from perhaps even some of you in this room was around things like we want to be able to have specific tones of voice, or we want to be able to do that in specific languages. We want to be able to control the length of that content. And that's all information that we've taken on board and we've used in pulling together this feature. So, now I'm going to give a quick demonstration of how that works. So I'm in Ometria's email template builder at the moment. So I've got this little button up here, the AI copy creator. So if I load that up, well, firstly, actually, let me just show you the template quickly. So I've got a kind of blank headline and copy block here, and then I've got a headline and a copy block that I've written out some basic copy for. So if I open this up, I've got my 4 blocks down the left-hand side. Now, this is the bit of the presentation where I get to tempt fate. Wouldn't be a good demo if I didn't give it the chance to go wrong. So I'm going to ask for a bit of audience participation. What we're looking for is a couple of keywords that we are going to use to build our headline and our copy block. So it could be, kind of marketing concepts like a summer sale or Black Friday or anything like that. It could be a product like chocolate or jeans or whatever. Anyone got any suggestions they want to shout out? Come on, help me out. What was that? Floral dresses. Okay, floral dresses. And any kind of like marketing kind of sale period we want to go with? Wedding. Okay, so floral dresses. weddings. So you're going to get a bit of a sense of this in the headline block, but then you're going to see even more of it in the copy block. So we want an urgent headline in English about floral dresses. I'll put 4 weddings. Okay, so I've chosen the tone to make that extra urgent, and then I'm going to go to my copy block, and I'm going to use the same terminology in that copy block. I'm going to make it a medium length just to expand on that a little bit. I'll keep it urgent, and then we'll run that as well. Hopefully, that is going to give me some lovely copy for that. Check it out. So, I just want to kind of reiterate the point that we made earlier. This is not intended to write all of your emails for you. This is not intended to replace you, the marketer. You need to think about tools like this, instead of replacing all of the work that you need to do, as massively accelerating the work that you need to do. So if you're sat there with a blank template and you're just like, okay, I just want to bash out a quick draft of this, and then I'm going to refine it very quickly, that is an easy way for you to do that. I've also got these 2 blocks here that I've pre-written. So I've got this amazing discounts on latest shoes headline. I can modify that, so I'm going to choose to make it more urgent, and I'm going to say, make it about Black Friday instead. Which it now has done. And then with this copy block, I could also say, make that about Black Friday. So currently, it's about a summer sale for 10% off shoes, and now it's about a 10% discount for Black Friday, which is awesome. Let's say that I didn't want to make it about Black Friday, but instead, I just wanted to take the same piece of content, and I wanted to make it more concise. So I'm changing the length to short, and I'll rephrase it. And there you go. It's now trying to say the same thing, but in a shorter form. And then all I have to do is take all of that, apply it, and there you go. I now have a very confusing email template about floral dresses for weddings and Black Friday shoes. And then one last thing that I wanted to show off. So we're going to release this as a separate feature a little later down the line, but we are also working on an automatic full template translation feature using the same types of technology. So I've just chosen to translate this into French, and when that happens, I now have everything done in French. So, okay, well, as I mentioned, this is something that we're still working on, and we're not planning on releasing that piece quite yet. So, yeah. That does need some more polish, so don't worry, we're working on it. Everything that I've just shown you today, other than the bulk translate feature, is actually going to be made available in the platform in June, which is super exciting, so this month. Also, because of the really great feedback that we received from the subject line generator, we're going to be taking some of those same concepts that I've just shown you and adding them there. So we're going to introduce the idea of tone of voice to subject lines. We're going to introduce the idea of language to subject lines, even the ability as to whether or not to include emojis. So yeah, really, really excited to get all of that into your hands. Thanks. All right, if we could go back to the slide deck now, please. I'm going to be handing over to talk to you about how we are going to be unlocking some really exciting insights for you using same tech. But yeah.
Thank you, Chris, for showing us how to get campaigns faster to market. That's exciting. So Ivan talked today about what makes us human. And one of the things is that we want to know about the future. And this is even a more pressing need for retailers. Because if we know when the next big or small milestone is going to happen, we can actually act upon it and make your own revenue, right? Which is what we are here for. So consumers are actually creatures of habit. They don't like change. They learn to do something and they do it over and over again. So am I suggesting that we are actually less mysterious than we think we are? I think I am suggesting that, but that is actually a good thing because that is really good for us and it works really well for prediction-based insights. They are data-driven and they are reliable. So there are a couple of examples that we can think about. So I think we mentioned that before, but for example, knowing what is the best marketing channel, knowing when the next order is going to happen, and how about imagine if you could understand what is the exact number of emails you need to send to get engagement and drive conversion. So I'm now going to do a quick show of hands, so I need your help. And how many of you have you been in a cross-team meeting and been asked to send one more email because you weren't hitting the target? Ooh, yes, I see a lot of hands. Okay, so you are not alone, just wanted to tell you that. And this is something that we knew. Prospects were telling us, clients were telling us, and we actually want to solve this problem through data. So, oops, wait, no demo yet. Sorry. So what we did is we leveraged 3 important data points. What was frequency and engagement, orders, and purchase behavior. And then with that, we created a really good and insightful dashboards that are going to help you make decisions. We don't want to tell you what to do, because that's why we're humans. We have that decision-making, critical thinking. We want to give you insight so you can make that decision yourself. So now we're going to go into the demo now. Yeah, okay. And we're going to be talking about predictive frequency, which is what created to make this job much easier. So the good thing about predictive frequency is that it allows you to tag these by segment. So you can go and tag our predictions based on your segments. So my suggestion always is to get what are your most important segments and tag that against your all contacts base, because that is where you're going to see the difference. Are you warm and active contacts? Do they need more or less emails? So that way you can actually understand a little bit more about your database. So the way this dashboard is going to work is you have 4 boxes. The two first ones are the predictions, and the second one is your current behavior. So in this case, you are sending now 8 emails, and Ometria is telling you to do 6. So the way we help you make this decision is we show you metrics and KPIs that you care about. So you care about conversion rate, you care about email revenue, you care about click-through rate, and you care about unsubscribe rate. Because obviously what you don't want to do is to harm your unsubscribe rate, but you also want conversion. So it's finding the balance between that. And what we do now is we show you what different frequencies are going to, across those KPIs, are going to meet. So we're going to tell you, this is what you're doing now, 8 emails, and what is going to happen if you send 7, 6, 5, 4, or even more than that. So it might be that 6 emails is too of a big jump, and maybe if you go to your boss and tell them that you're going to send 2, fewer emails, you're going to be like, maybe no, let's try 1 less. So you also have the option to do that. So if we move on to the second table here, is this dashboard tells you about revenue, which is at the end of the day what everyone cares about, right, is revenue. So what this is going to do is it's going to show you for the next 10 months, we're going to predict how much money you're going to make if you send different frequencies. So that is going to help you make the decision. So in this case, you're actually going to make more money by sending less. So your team can actually spend that time doing something else. So you don't have to build emails. And you can try that with different frequencies. So you can look at 5, you can look at 7, and that is going to give you a good idea of the decision you want to make. Again, Ometria doesn't want to make decisions for you. You have the data, you have the power to do that. And last but not least, you have the historical performance. So here is what almost closes the loop. It does a 360 view of your entire email performance. So we are giving you predictions, and then we're also giving you access to what you've done in the past. So it's broken down by automation and broadcast campaigns, so you can actually take a deep dive into the past. Ideally, and I always say that, and I know this is almost like a shooting to the moon, your pink bar should be higher, or almost no higher, because that's impossible, because that's automation. You need to see that increasing over time. So your automation campaigns, you have more weight in your strategy. So this is everything I have for today for you guys. So thank you so much for listening.
Great, everybody. I am Regiane. I'm also a product manager at Ometria. And thanks, Bea, for showing us how predictive analytics can help us to produce more revenue. And I will be still talking a little bit more about predictive analytics. And we predict one more announcement today, what that could be. So we are launching another new feature. And I am particularly excited about this one because I think it's a perfect example on how we can use computational power, adapting a computational tool to solve problems that matter, but in a very simple and effective way, because I think this is also important. So today, this morning, our CEO, Ivan, was talking a little bit about the mission of Ometria, which is creating those highly personalized marketing experiences and support the retailers to do that, to make sure that their customers will love and will stay engaged and will stay loyal. But we know there is lots of challenges in doing that. And I think the biggest challenge is that not all customers are the same. And in order for us to do that personalization at scale, we would need to manipulate a huge amount of data. And literally, it's humanly impossible in order for you to know each customer, what's the best time to contact. We need machines to help us to do that. And this next feature we are releasing is supposed to help us with that. And mostly precisely with timing. So without further ado, we're going to be releasing from tomorrow, all our clients will have access to the predicted next order for each of their customers in their entire customer base. And yes, I'm very excited about it. This is particularly good. This is supposed to be a video. I don't know, let me see. Okay, let's go back and try again. Maybe I need some help in there, but let's continue. This feature is based on something that's really close to the retailer's reality, which is order gap analysis. But we evolved this a little bit with a little bit of more comprehensive logic. So we have now mechanisms to deal with new customers when their purchase pattern are still not well established. And then mechanisms of dealing with orders that are made on the same day or subsequent days. It's a shame that the video is not playing. It always have. Yeah, it's okay. And I didn't do the demo because I wanted to avoid trouble. Oh, there you go. So yes, as I was saying, it's a very powerful tool because now retailers will be able to tackle customers into two very important instances. The first one is when a customer is mostly likely to buy. There is a higher probability of conversion, so we are helping them with increasing conversion. But the second one is that in a given event that a customer was predicted to make a second order, a third order, and they did not make that order, they missed their original pattern, we believe that this is the first sign that that customer might leave. So we now enable retailers to have that very early and proactive action against churn. So we are helping them with retention. So combined conversion and retention, what we are doing is supporting retailers where it matters the most. We are helping them to increase customer lifetime value. And this is very important considering the economic situation we are in now. So indeed, it's very simple, but it's really, really powerful and will help our clients immensely, I hope. In terms of the user experience, what you will see is that within the single customer view, you will have a next point in the lifeline of that customer, which is the predicted next order date. In terms of how we're going to action this, you can explore this within the segment explorer, so you can create segments based on the particular dates you are looking for, and then also creating campaigns to address or to engage with their customers in the perfect time. So as I said before, this is going to be available to all our customers from tomorrow. And I'm very, very keen to hear any feedback you guys might have for us so we can continuously improve. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for your attention. And I'm handing over to Marco. Thank you.
So I think coffee's next, so I'll be brief. So the future of Ometria, what should you expect from Ometria? The short version is a lot more of this. The key focus that we will have over the future, as I was mentioning earlier, will be your core needs. Again, getting campaigns done in an effective way, ensuring that you're focused on where there's more potential for growth and for revenue, and delivering personalized, relevant customer experiences. So those will always be our kind of three-pronged North Star that we'll always aim to achieve. But at the same time, as you've seen, we'll also make sure that we will help you to navigate these troubled waters with all the innovation that is happening at the moment by bringing to you these new technologies in ways that are very effective and very intuitive, and so that they actually add to your experience on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, what we will definitely always continue to bring to you is a lot of clarity in terms of what's coming. So these kind of sessions are always available to you, as our clients will know. You always have access to our roadmap, both in the short term and kind of longer term. So that clarity and that transparency will always be there. So we'll also help you to navigate how we do prioritization to focus on what matters the most to our clients. And lastly, obviously, as everybody already mentioned, there will always be very much a listening ear. Will be, as you all know, we have a very close relationship with our clients, and we're very, very keen to always listen to what matters to you, to the day-to-day, and what you worry about for the future, or what you look forward to in the future. And so that relationship will continue to be very solid, and that's our promise to all of you. Thank you so much.